Okay, well, I think we're going to get started here. Folks are still kind of trickling in a little bit, probably transitioning from another meeting. Just wanted to start by welcoming everyone and thank you for joining phase one of the informational webinar for the American-Made Challenges Wind Turbine Materials Recycling Prize. My name is Gunnar Tandy, and I am your host for today. I'm joined today by Tyler Christoffel. Tyler is a technology manager for the Department of Energy's Wind Energy Technology Office, and I am a prize lead with the National Renewable Energy Lab here in beautiful Golden, Colorado. We're also known as NREL. And Tyler and I and our respective organizations are partnering on this prize. We're going to hear from Tyler in just a few moments. He's going to walk us through the key goals of this prize. But let's start off by just highlighting the agenda for today. It is our goal to make sure that you have enough information to put together a quality submission. And we aim to do that in 30 minutes to put some time back on your calendar. So hold me accountable. We're going to start off with just a brief introduction to the American-Made program, and then we're going to get into the heart of today's agenda, starting with an overview of the prize. And then we're going to roll up our sleeves a little bit and get into the individual elements of the submission package. We'll also explain how those submissions will be scored, and then just a quick walkthrough of how you will apply through our HeroX prize platform, which we'll talk about in just a few moments, and then we'll wrap up with next steps. But first, just a few housekeeping items. Want to acknowledge first that this webinar is being recorded. The recording, along with these slides, will be available on the HeroX platform on the resources tab. We do welcome your questions today. We just ask that you please put them in the QA box on the Zoom toolbar there. We're going to post responses to your questions on the HeroX site. And then if you're experiencing any audio issues, please check your audio settings. You can also direct message the host if you need some assistance. And we also included a phone number in the meeting invite if you need to use that to follow along. Okay. Well, we'll start off with American-Made. So what is American-Made all about? So the American-Made Challenges program at a very high level represents 21 technology offices within the U.S. Department of Energy, or DOE. The foundation of the program are these prizes like this one that we facilitate. We also create partnerships between entrepreneurs and the private sector, and also the experts across DOE's National Lab Network. And we'll talk about this in a few moments, but thanks to the accelerated timelines of these prizes, along with the accelerated goals, these prizes really fast track the product development process. And in many cases, we help teams accomplish in months what may normally take years. In terms of scale, the American-Made program represents over $200 million in cash prizes and support. We also work with over 400 members of our network, and also represents 55 plus, I think we're at 59 prizes now. And the technologies range from solar, wind, geothermal, and the list goes on from there. When we talk about prizes, we often receive the question, so what's the difference between a grant and a prize? And the short answer is that prizes really accelerate the innovation process. With government grants, often they start with you writing and submitting a concept paper. Those concept papers are then reviewed. You write and submit full applications. Those applications are then reviewed. Only then are the projects selected and negotiated, and only then are the teams starting to perform. And then when they complete their performance, they submit reimbursement requests, which are then reviewed and reimbursement is issued. It's a pretty long process. Prizes is a much more streamlined version of that. Starting with participants begin performing immediately, and then they reach a predefined goal, submit their package, the package is judged, and then winners receive payment. And the important thing to know is that there are no performance deliverables tied to the cash award. So we hope that you use the money to advance your innovation, but it's really up to you how you spend those funds. So let's talk about this prize. At a really high level, this is a $5.1 million prize competition. And you'll notice that there's a dramatic increase in cash awards from phase 1 to phase 2. Phase 1, we're calling Initiate. We launched this prize on July 12th, and we're going to close submissions on September 29th. So as of today, that gives you about eight weeks to complete your submissions. In the Initiate phase, we're going to award up to 20 winners, $75,000 cash each, and each winner will have the opportunity to compete in phase 2. We're calling phase 2 the Accelerate phase, and we anticipate it opening in the December timeframe and closing it in July of 2024. So that'll give teams about 7 months to complete their submission packages for phase 2. And in phase 2, we're going to award up to 6 winners, $500,000 cash each, and $100,000 in technical vouchers. So these vouchers will give the winners an opportunity to work with the experts in DOE's National Lab Network. So I'm going to turn it over to Tyler now, and Tyler's going to walk us through the key goals of this prize. Tyler, you there?
Yep. Hi, everyone. Thanks, Gunnar, for the introduction here, and thanks to you all for, again, for joining us for this webinar. Unfortunately, I think I've lost my ability to do video. I was hoping to have everyone be able to see me, but well, I guess we'll figure that out as we go. Yeah, so I'd like to talk to you all today a little bit more on the context of the prize and our motivations for running this competition, as well as some of the more specific technical details that we'll be looking for. So as many of you are likely already familiar, the United States has a goal of 100% energy sector decarbonization by 2035. And so decarbonization of that scale is likely to require rapid deployment of clean energy technologies like wind energy. And we're projecting that this could require up to 10 times the current deployment of wind. And obviously, that much deployment means we're going to need a lot more materials to be deployed on top of the current already deployed materials. And we're going to have to figure out something to do with all those materials at the end of life of these technologies. So the good news is that industry is already seeking to move towards zero waste business practices for wind, and we're here to support that. So if we can move to the next slide. Where are we today for wind? So right now, most wind turbine materials by mass can be economically recycled. These are materials like steel, cast iron, and concrete that make up the bulk of a wind turbine's mass. And the United States today can already recycle much more volume of these materials than are likely to be required for wind. The current status of some materials for wind, such as fiber reinforced composites and rare earth elements, which can be found in the magnets for permanent magnet synchronous generators, don't have full-scale domestic recycling solutions that are economically self-sustaining. So next slide, please. What we're here to do is award funding to designers of novel technologies and highly capable commercial entities that will help develop a cost-effective and sustainable recycling industry for those two high-impact categories of wind materials, again, being fiber-reinforced composites, like would be found in wind turbine blades, and rare earth elements that are found in permanent magnets. Next slide, please. And then I'd like to emphasize that this prize is explicitly focusing on technologies that enhance the ability to recycle materials when wind energy technologies are decommissioned. So if the proposed process has broader applications, such as accepting and recycling waste from manufacturing or some other waste stream, that attribute will benefit the submission, but should not be the primary driver. Moving on to the next slide. We anticipate a few high-level impacts from this competition, certainly not limited to this slide, but likely looking to see an extension of the economic value of wind energy materials, accelerating the development of a domestic recycling industry for these key materials that we see as necessary for the clean energy transition, reduced waste from the wind energy industry as a whole, and really looking to develop this new recycling industry and the associated workforce in an equitable and sustainable way. Slide, please. And so what we're looking for in phase 1 of this competition is for competitors to submit an identification of the industry need that they are looking to solve with their technology, a description of that technology and a plan for developing it, both progressing it through the technology readiness scale as well as advancing its commercial readiness. An initial market ecosystem assessment with a risk assessment, whether technical, financial, or regulatory, a community benefits plan, and an optional initial life cycle assessment of the proposed process. And so with that, I would like to thank you all again for your time, and I'll pass it back to Gunnar for the remainder of this webinar.
Hey, thank you so much, Tyler. Really appreciate it. So Tyler talked about what's going to be included in the submission package, and next we're going to get into the details here. So we'll roll up our sleeves. And first, just want to highlight where you can find the prize rules and really encourage you to read the prize rules carefully. So you'll find them on our HeroX prize page. The web address is included on the slide here. We can drop it in the chat if it's not there already. It's herox.com/wind-turbine-materials-recycling. Really encourage you to pour through the prize rules and make sure you understand everything included as you prepare your submission package. There are eligibility requirements for this prize. The competition is open to individuals who are legally authorized to work in the United States, also private entities, non-federal government entities, and academic institutions that are based in the United States. There are also rules around ineligibility. There's a fairly long list in the prize rules, so I'm not going to walk through those today. Just wanted to flag them as being very important and encourage you to take a lap through them in the prize rules. So this is the submission package that Tyler referenced, 7 elements. This is a little more detail here. We're going to go through each one individually, and again, all of this detail and then some is included in the prize rules. So starting off with the cover page, really just basic information about your submission, your project name, innovation tagline, who are your key project members, include some keywords that describe your solution, also where you're located, city, state, zip code, and a link to your public video, which we'll get to in just a few moments. It's important that you also upload this to HeroX as a PDF file. Now, the summary slide is going to be public. This is just a 1-slide summary, and it should include technical details, but also should be understood by most people. We're not including a template here, so feel free to present this however you choose. We just ask that you make the text readable in a standard printout, and also if we're presenting this in a conference room projection screen, that we're able to read this. So this will be a PowerPoint file that you'll upload to the HeroX platform. Next up is a 90-second video. This video is going to be public, and it should really be focused on answering the question, what is your innovation? You can include things like the concept that you're developing, why your innovation has the potential to be transformational, include things like your team, your facilities, your ability to safely carry out this project. Your video file should be posted online, and you'll just want to supply us with the URL or the link to the video. And the tip here is, please focus your time and energy on the content, because that's what's being scored and not so much on the production quality. Next up, and this is really the heart of your application, is the concept narrative. The narrative really should be focused on answering these 4 questions. First, what is your innovation? And what is its potential to enhance the recyclability of wind and energy materials? Second, why will your innovation be successful? What is its potential? Also an opportunity to talk about the accomplishments in your team. So what have you done to date, and what qualities give you a competitive edge? And then finally, what are the goals of the team with respect to each of the 3 community benefits plan elements? The details around the CBP are included in the rules. This narrative will need to be uploaded as a PDF, and really want to be mindful of the 2,500 word character limit, 2,500 word limit. So the tips here are, remember your audience. This portion is not public, so you can be very specific about your submission and pay attention to the word count. Next up, And this is optional, is letters of commitment. So letters of support from partners or others that are critical to the success of your proposed innovation will likely increase your score. So if you choose to submit those, upload those to HeroX as a PDF file. There's also an optional life cycle assessment data form. So although the results of this life cycle assessment will not be assessed or count as scoring in either phase of this prize, the benefit to you is that if you're a competitor and you receive an award in phase 1 and choose to submit the data, you'll be given 2 hours of time to be able to discuss the results with national lab experts. So just a key benefit to you. And finally, if you have any work or materials that are sourced outside the United States, you'll want to include this waiver as a PDF file on the HeroX platform. So how's this going to be scored? So we're assembling a team of expert reviewers, and they're going to review, read, and score and comment on all of the content that comes in through the submissions. And they'll evaluate those submissions based on this scale. So 1 point for strongly disagree, all the way up to 6 points for strongly agree. And the scores will be weighted based on this table. So this table is lifted directly from the prize rules. I encourage you to become familiar with it so you understand sort of where you want to focus your time and attention and energy. So this final score from an individual reviewer for submission package, it will equal the total weight of the sum of the scores for all the sections. The final determination is going to come from DOE. They'll certainly consider the reviewer scores, I think, as paramount. There are also other factors. So the program policy factors, which are included in the prize rules, are also factored in here. And then interviews, if applicable, will all be considered when selecting our phase winners. These program policy factors, just not going to read through them. It's a pretty extensive list here. Just wanted to flag that they're pretty important because they will be factored into the selection of winners for this prize. So encourage you to take a lap through them in the prize rules. So how do you apply? This is the HeroX platform. And again, this is the web address, herox.com/wind-turbine-materials-recycling. So when you go to the landing page here, you'll see a summary, timeline. There are resources. On the resources tab down below, that's where you'll find the prize rules. There are also FAQs. We'll post our answers to your questions today on that FAQs tab. So you want to start your submission by selecting follow at the top. And so by following this prize, when we post any updates, you'll receive those updates and be able to follow along. So you start by selecting solve this challenge down below. Next up, you'll want to accept the agreement. And then you get to decide, how do you want to compete? Do you want to create your own team? Do you want to join a team? Do you want to compete individually? And then finally, select begin entry, and this will pop up a submission screen, which is very similar to like a web form, where you'll start to begin your entry and attaching those submission elements that we walked through previously. So in terms of next steps, we encourage you to follow the challenge. Go ahead and do it now with the time that we're giving back on your calendar. Read the rules. You can start to take a lap through those as well. They're on the free resources tab of the HeroX website. Start innovating and make sure you get your applications in by September 29th. If you have any questions along the way, you can send them to this email address, windturbinematerialsrecycling.prize@nrel.gov. And either I'll respond or you'll receive a response from one of these power connectors that WIDO contracted for this prize to offer support to all of our applicants, ADL Ventures and Yet2. And this concludes our webinar today. So on behalf of Tyler, WIDO, NREL, and our prize team, we really look forward to reviewing your submissions later this year. And we thank you for joining us today. Thank you and goodbye.